Party people, what's going on? This is Samaj Marsh. I am the founder of BlueDeathValley.com, and I want to welcome everybody back to another edition of Inside the Valley, the podcast that's devoted to relentless coverage of A&T football. Of course, I got my two co-hosts here. Help me out. First up, former A&T wide receiver and a Greensboro native, my man Dougie Fresh Brown. What's going on, Doug?
Hey, what's up, guys? Aggie Pride. Ain't nothing changed.
Or should I call you a champ, man? Y'all was the belle of the ball this past Saturday, man. I saw that 2003 championship MEAC squad got represented at it wasn't halftime. Was it halftime y'all came on the field?
Third quarter, in the third quarter.
Yeah. That was pretty nice, man. I saw that.
It was, man. Always good to get together with the guys. Where there's a few of us, there are many. So it doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3 of us or, 20 of us, 30 of us, man. It's always cool to get together with some of the guys, man, to celebrate, man. Championships are hard to come by, man. Doesn't matter what league you're in. So it's always a special time.
Yeah, so we talk about that a little bit more. This is the 20th anniversary of the 2003 MEAC Championship A&T squad. Doug Brown's one of those leading cast of characters, man, and he has some other guys. But of course, the man in the middle always speaks facts. Is not talking riddle. He is longtime beat writer on BlueDeathValley.com, one of the first season ticket holders of what was then known as Aggie Stadium. He's the current president of the Greensboro chapter of the AAF. And more importantly, he's my right-hand man, Craig Turner. What's going on, CT?
Hey, Aggie Pride, guys. Back for a week and see what happens again this week. We'll see what happens this week.
Now, speaking of that AAF, you guys got a fun little bus trip you guys are planning this week. You guys are going up to the Tidewater area for the second time this year. First time resulted in a W. Hopefully we can repeat that because you're going back up there this Saturday to be party crashers. You're going up for Hampton's homecoming. That's gonna be a fun trip, huh, Craig?
Yeah. It should be an interesting trip. It was tough getting in up at Hampton, but we worked it out and we're ready to go. We got 50 Aggies going up there, and Virginia's been real kind to us this year, so hopefully the trend will continue this Saturday.
Right. Well, when we go to Virginia's been kind. Last week we played Richmond, Dougie Fresh, and that was a rough one, man. That might have been the low point, in my opinion, of the offense this year. We had it's hard to even say this. We had 37 yards passing again. So now we're 1-6 on the year. So this week 7 we just completed, and we once again have not crossed the 100-yard barrier. That's like a miracle mile for us. We can't get over 100 yards passing. And now, and then even worse, add insult to injury, we threw 3 interceptions. 2 of them returned for pick 6 touchdowns. And I think we had another turnover. We had another block punt. Dougie Fresh, you don't understand how hard this is to do. You couldn't do this if you had if you were playing Madden, you were just trying to simulate. We had another block punt. This one for a touchdown. And I think we also muffed another kick. So if it's either 2 out of the last few weeks, it's consecutive weeks we've had a muff kick and a block punt in a row. That's Dougie. Man, what is that?
Back-to-back weeks, man. Just got off to a bad start, man. Wasn't able to get anything done. Just felt like out behind the chains. Just couldn't hold it down, like literally. And so, next thing you know, before, really got things going, things kind of got out of control. And I looked over and the tent had blew away, so I just 2 weeks of work just did not get off to a good start at the tailgate, man. I just blew it. So, that's on me, but, I'm going to get better. But, that's me at the tailgate, not even the game. I'm sorry, man. I'm just thinking about my performance at the tailgate was just not good. We lost the tent, man. It just
another tent.
Man. I'm sitting here looking at the game field, man. Just not good. I'm not playing my best ball right here before homecoming. But it's all right, man. We're gonna get better. We'll get more into that later, man, with the tailgate. But anyway, man, No, man, those guys, man, you know, we had some things go wrong, you know, and you know, I like to do my good, the bad, and the Aggie, and
Yeah.
you know, my good was Taman, you know, Taman Cook, you know, he definitely had the big kick return.
Yeah.
But my bad was, like you said, the T for the bad was the turnovers, man. We had
Good Lord.
the turnovers killed us. You know, last week it was on the ground with the fumbles. You know, the week in Delaware and to come back this week and to have those ones in the air really hurt. But you know, it's more of the same, man. We got to make plays at receiver. We have those opportunities. The ball bounced off our hands a few times. You know, we just weren't able to put it all together. And like you said, another lackluster performance in the air. But you know, it was a windy day. You know, that didn't really affect the passing game much. I think, you know, the balls we threw just we tried to give our receiver a chance in sometimes, and other times it didn't go our way. But wasn't pretty. But you know, there were points in the game where we had some momentum and just weren't able to capitalize on it. So, you know, it was a good day at Aggieland. We had a good time fellowshipping, but it was a
nice.
tough day in Aggieland as well. So
yeah, you know what was cool though, Dougie? Like you said, you know, when you guys were honored and you guys got to go on the field, I think I got a picture of how that looked. Let me see if I can pull this up because I think Dr. Simmons was on hand. And of course, man, you know,
man, check that out.
He's a maestro with the camera, so he got a bunch of you guys. So tell me, man, let's go left to right, Dougie. Fill everybody in. Who these guys out here?
Oh, well, first off, man, we got Marshal Glenn right there. That's my quarterbacks, one of my quarterbacks there. And then I got my son out there, DJ. He stepped in, man. I guess, you know, drug him out on the field.
I got you.
That's me there in the goal. Then I got, you know, my tight end, Big Trey Mack. We got T-Bone, and that guy actually to the right is a 9th grade young man who plays receiver.
Good Lord.
Man, he's 14. He's Trey Mack's son. I think he's out of the Wake Forest area. So, you know, we tried to expose him to Aggie Land a little bit. So we had a good time messing around. There were a few more guys who didn't make it down, you know, right there at halftime. But we went out there to represent the guys, man, and hang out a little bit. So it was awesome, man. I got to give a shout out to Jeremy Wright and the rest of the staff who took care of us. And, you know, we've been trying to communicate and get it nailed down for a couple of weeks. So it was nice to get that done. So, man, hopefully we can get that done some more. We can continue to do that and take care of some of our championship teams. I mean, we've had, you know, a big run with the 93 baseball, you know, of course, those early 90 football teams. So it's been really cool, man. And just trying to continue that tradition and that communication and establish amongst those former athletes and some of those championship teams. Because, you know, we continue to have new staff and new people and new support. We want them to know kind of some of that history of A&T and what those teams mean.
You gotta appreciate that history, man, because it's so important. And actually tonight, man, we got a special guest in the building, and he was actually in that picture we just showed. He was the integral part of that 2000 championship season. Made a lot of big plays, but more importantly, he was that leader. He kind of brought a lot of guys together, different personalities. And even today, he's in a leadership role, and he's this cool, calm, and collective. So let me bring to the show tonight for the first time your quarterback, Mr. Marshal Glenn. What's up, Marshal? What's going on, man?
Gentlemen. Hopefully you can hear me fairly well.
Perfect. Marshal, it's a long time coming, man. I had to almost kidnap you at the tailgate and keep you locked up until the night. I've been trying to get you on this thing for a while, man. Thank you so much for finally making time to join us, man.
Man, glad to be here, man. Glad to be a part of the Valley for the night.
Yes, sir. So, hey, man, let's go to it, man. We right now we're kind of licking our wounds with this football program, but you know a little bit about adversity because you got here in 2002. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So this was Bill Hayes last year. You were recruited by Hayes, and you and Douglas were in the same recruiting class. And I swear there were about 700 kids in that recruiting class. I don't know if Bill Hayes was right about this football field, pool hall, bus station, but he circled around the whole kind of state of North Carolina. Anybody who like they was an athlete, he threw them in there and found some way to get them in that class. Talk about that 2002 recruit that class, because y'all came in. I mean, it was deep, wasn't it?
Yeah, that group was very, very special, man. There was a lot of cats that came in with us.
Yeah.
And one thing about, Coach Hayes, He was a recruiter amongst the recruiters, man. He had a way of finding guys. He would hide them out, get them on campus. That was the biggest thing, just getting them on campus, getting them in active land. That was very crucial, man. I'm just sitting back in the past couple of the days, past a couple of weeks, leading up to the them honoring us for that championship season. And man, we had, of course, the recruiting class. I think we might have had, I don't think it was 70, but total all, when you count all the props, it might have been about 70, 80 now that I think about it. But we had a lot of guys that were, the Prop 48s that were just on campus going to class and working out, man. We had a slew of guys that were just around the football program, and it was key because they made us work because we knew what we had sitting, waiting in the wings that was ready to come be a part of the football team. And plus the guys in the special group that we had, a lot of freshmen that actually came in and played as freshmen that 2002 season, which I honestly feel was probably one of the best football teams I've ever been a part of. We didn't show it on from a record standpoint, but we were always there in games. And so, I mean, like I said, man, that group was very special, but recruiting was the key and the name of the game, and just having guys on campus and even soliciting help at times just to get practice guys out there. But overall, it was a true team effort, and every aspect of the game was covered, and we were able to put it all together that year.
So what was it like when you first met this knucklehead named Doug Brown? Because he came in, like Doug Brown was I got to admit, he was a pretty high recruit because everyone in the area knew this guy from Ragsdale, and everybody was calling him Fresh for some reason. I was like, who the hell's Fresh, man? And he was a legacy because his dad played here, right? So when you first got on campus, and you was a top gun yourself, you went to East MEAC, and you were the #1 senior quarterback in the state of North Carolina that year, right? So when you got to campus and you ran at Doug Brown, what was that first encounter like?
Man, I'm gonna just be honest, man. If it wasn't for the Brown family, I might not have been at A&T. They helped solidify that deal and get me in the door. My man Dougie Fresh right here was a big key and part of me coming to A&T, and I'm forever indebted and grateful for the opportunity and the experience, man. We hit the ground running from day one. We got plenty of stories from the beginning all the way to the end and keeping it going now. But man, it was very instrumental. We were on campus before. I don't even think before the school let out that previous year, coming in. That I think we all really got there that second semester of summer school, but we were already on campus. We were getting it in, hanging out, working out, and getting really in tune to the city of Greensboro and what it had all to offer. And like I said, coming in and joining that class of 2002, it was very key and instrumental, and we were able to put it together. But yeah, I had to get it to my man Doug Brown and the Brown family. I'm forever indebted to those guys, to that family. Mama Brown, Papa Brown, that's family for me.
Don't forget about T Brown. Don't forget about T Brown.
Can't forget Big Sis now. Can't forget Big Sis. Big Sis will roll up on you and put you in your place and whatnot. She always take care of aunties, uncles, everybody, man. I really feel a part of that family, and met a lot of that family. I had some good cooked meals. I'm from the city of Charlotte or whatnot. I got family here in Greensboro, but the Brown family was always instrumental and looked out for me. I mean, Aunt Chris, everybody, you know what I mean? I mean that whole family, they took care of me, so I'm forever grateful.
And look at guys, y'all both, Dougie and Marshall, y'all both were thrown to the fire because, like I said, 2002, we were coming off. That was right when Mo Hicks, so he had just graduated 2001, towards ACL in Atlanta in that Peach State Classic against JSU on that bad turf in the Georgia Dome. So we had a really good season in 2001, brought in all those guys in 2002, and I think that's when Bill Hayes ended up changing his offense. Right, he brought in what was your coach name, Dougie?
He had Gerber originally before that summer. Gerber and Hicks. He had two coordinators.
Yeah,
and both of them left. I think late in July, right? It was like right before school was about to start, and we brought back in Ferg,
the late great Linwood Ferguson.
Yep.
And he came in there and somehow, and Marsh, I don't know how he did it. Somehow, Ferg convinced Bill Hayes to put aside that wing T, and for the first time ever, y'all was gonna run the spread offense. Come on,
man,
now,
that was something special. That was something special, and like Brown said, with Coach Gerber in there, I remember, man, sitting in that room we had Jason Battle, Randall Rankins, Jason Douglas. I'm just a freshman in there. My eyes wide, big, just trying to soak it all in. That offense, man, was very detailed and delicate. And then, once Coach Gerber left and Coach Ferg came in, it was a little bit more spread open and wide, something that I was a little accustomed to in the past past 2 years following up in high school. And we were able to, spread our wings and be able to let the ball fly, something I was used to. Got a chance to run the ball. I started off playing football as a running back, so you couldn't tell me that once I got the ball in my hands.
Yeah. All right.
But, having those playmakers on the outside, my job was just to get the ball in their hands and let them do what they do best. And that's take it to the house and get the ball in the end zone. And like I said, my man Brown right here, I tell you, that joker found a way, especially once he got the ball in his hands, getting to the end zone, do his famous Doug Brown dive into the end zone, then come up with the wrestling Macho Man strut right over there to the band somehow. He always finished right there, and I always got to show love to Big Sis with Big Tiff out in there with the golden to the light and whatnot. And so that offense was very special.
So look here. So 2002, you're a true freshman, right? And like you said, Jason Douglas was there. He was a recruit they brought in for a year. Jason Battle was finishing up. And it's very similar to right now, man. We got you had a crowded quarterback room, different skill sets. Everybody kind of brought something different to the table. What was it like as a true freshman? Because right now you got KJ, you got Kevin White Jr., and you got redshirt freshman Brick Handler. They're freshmen, and then you got 2 sophomores in Hooker and Yeager. They're all just trying to find their way. What was the dynamic like for you when you first got to A&T as a quarterback?
Well, freshman, you coming in, you always want to be the starter. You always wanted to be the guy. And that was my mindset coming in. But I knew we had a returning senior in Jason Battle that played as a freshman as well. And, for me, I was talking about this the other day. I always want to give, that young man his flowers because he was very instrumental to me. I'm always a sponge. If you're not green, you're not growing. And so I watched everything that he did, how he approached the game, practice, everything, how he threw the football, how he released and everything. And, some of those things that he did on a day-to-day basis, I was a sponge and I tried to make it a part of my game. I knew he played as a freshman and got to watch some of the highlights and the plays that he made. And I just wanted my opportunity to get a chance to go out there and shine. Same with Randall Rankins, man, as a wizard, man, he knew so much, especially from a mental aspect and preparation. I learned a lot from Randall Rankins, and man, when I say a pure athlete, both guys, man, Jason Battle played baseball, but Randall, man, he was a pure athlete. Might have been a little undersized, but he did a little bit of everything on that field, which was key for us in the championship run as well.
2003 next year.
Yes, sir. And then you had Jason Douglas, from the West Coast.
Yes, right.
A different style and approach, man. Where he was a straight gunslinger, man. He could let it fly. And so for me as a true freshman, I just wanted to get a chance to show, that I could do it as well. And I wanted to be prepared. You only one play away, one injury away. And I wanted to be prepared and ready whenever my number was called so I can go out there and do what I do and just have fun playing ball. But for me, it was just coming in and learning and taking different aspects of those 3 guys and how they approached the game and how they played the game, and then adding whatever I felt that they did well to my game and making it apply as best as I could. And, they were very, they were coaches away from the field, whether they knew it or not. I was always watching everything that they did. And so that helped me, especially as a freshman when I got my chance.
And you're going to play. Hey, that kid, Marshal Glenn, you're going to play.
Is that Bill Hayes?
Bill Hayes.
Coach Hayes.
Bill Hayes, he solidified it.
He solidified the team early on. Like, guys were barking about playing time and having questions, all the stuff. And Coach Hayes will stand up. He led in that manner and said, that kid's going to play. I don't know when, but sometime in the season, he's going to play. And this was within 2 games, I think Marshall went in and had an impact for us. But he was a leader from the moment, like he said, before he stepped on campus. And I remember, like he said, it had to be in the spring. We were on campus asking for workouts and wanting to learn about the offense. I remember I stole this highlight tape. There's only 2 things I ever stole from A&T in my life. I stole Marshall Glenn's highlight tape and Tim Jennings, who ended up deciding to go to Georgia and was running a Super Bowl, playing in the NFL with the Colts. But we stole Marshall Glenn's highlight tape because I wanted to know the style of quarterback he played. I wanted to see what his tendencies are, what he liked, how he delivered the ball. And I learned so much, got some information on the front end that when he got here, we just hit it straight off just with football because we kind of had a similar background. But, he was a leader from the start. He was a spiritual leader. I remember Marshall praying and breaking down the huddles for the team as a freshman, right? Throughout he and Booker T, right, throughout kind of, his whole time at A&T and kind of just lead in that manner. And for a lot of guys who show up to college, they need somebody like that to lead or to lean on or even have in their corner. There's so many negative influences within a team and within college and things that are out there to get you. Having somebody around you that walk the right way, like that's a positive. I always tell the story, like Marshall and I, we played together. We had a chance to coach, a few years after at A&T together. During that span, we were roommates, with another teammate of ours and just, had a chance to really become brothers. Everything he said about how he felt about my family, I just feel the same way about his family because we were able to share those same moments, right? And when we laugh and joke, but Marshall, I tell him all the time, man, this is what I want you to sing at my funeral. Make sure they play this at my funeral because I imagine him being there, right? That's the type of friend and brother he's become along with his family. So it's neat to have another teammate like that and have somebody who kind of helped you walk a straight and narrow, when you needed somebody to lean on, you can share stuff with. So, I hope that everybody has brothers like that. I saw T-Bone in the picture who I've known since we were kicking around rocks in Aggie Stadium as long as before we could talk, So, to have Marshall come and stay and continue to be a part of the community that I grew up in and know that he's making an impact on kids, and every light that he touches, every avenue he walks in, he's really impacting kids and family is awesome. So, he's a big influence. He doesn't say much about the quarterback and the style of play at A&T, but you're talking about one of the smartest guys to lead a huddle at A&T. Throughout Marshall's time there, one thing he was known for is knowing what to do and the kind of plays to put us in and being the guy who knew the playbook in and out, right? And a lot of times when there's a quarterback battle, and y'all heard me say this before, you're going to go, especially as a coach, you're going to go with the guy who knows the playbook, who knows how to get you out of trouble, and that guy can save you a bunch of times. And there were so many times when Marshall, had that part down, when fans might have been yelling for Rico because, we were moving the ball, but people didn't realize we were playing backyard football, right? We might not know to play when we play in the huddle, a lot of times, but, those things are what make a championship. And, of course, you talk about Randall Rankins being in that mix, man, and seeing a quarterback room. I've seen a quarterback room of guys all pull for each other and there not be any static. So I know what that looks like. I know what it looks like for guys to celebrate for each other and not for themselves and to be selfless. And that's why we can look at a team and tell you, how tight a team is, how excited you get for the third or fourth guy that scores a touchdown, on a fumble recovery, right? Who you weren't expecting to score. Like those things breed winning. And Marshall can tell everything that I've said on this show, he can attest to what discipline adds to not only your individual life, but also to a team, like in an instance. Because all those guys he named that he said was on campus, we know it was 70 plus, just like he said. And in that class, you had Herb Dixon, who was a prop on campus, but he came in with our class. And then you have Shamar Milton and Ricky Lewis, who were a class ahead of us, who propped ahead of us. So their first crack at it was kind of our freshman year, and they were included in that class. So, man, you're talking about loads of talent. And you heard Coach Hayes say it on that Blue Death Valley interview that he said, I knew those guys were going to be good. I had a campus full of them, and he expected to win. And I think we lost, a bunch of those games within 3 or 4 points, just being young, right?
So, I remember that Portland State game. Remember y'all went to Portland State and y'all had them on the ropes and y'all went to overtime. Oh man, I think we had like something happened like right before the half. But listen, that was a great talented team, that 2002 team. But Craig, let's just go back to Marshall Glenn because you didn't start being a recruiting expert this last week. You've been doing this for a while. You remember when Marshall Glenn was first in the mix to sign here and how big of a get that was for us. Because like I say, he was the top dog in North Carolina quarterbacks that year. Yeah. Tell people the little scout report on Marshall Glenn back then.
Whoa, wow. I had to go back and dig up my columns, but Marshall Glenn was coming to the scouting report on him when he came out of high school. tall, athletic,
Yep.
got a rocket arm, high percentage passer, uses feet real well. Wasn't considered a great, knew how to buy time, and when he did run, he made you pay. So he was an explosive dual threat guy. So he was the number one quarterback prospect, and I think it shocked a lot of people when you signed with A&T. I think it shocked a lot of people.
Yeah. So Marshall, what was the deciding factor? If you had options, what was the deciding factor to come here?
Man, I can remember that like yesterday. Literally, it was so many coaches calling the house and things of that nature. And I was always a tweener. I went to East Mecklenburg High School, and my first 2 years we ran the option. And, so like I said, I started off playing in football as a running back, so running the ball wasn't no problem for me. And then my junior year, we had a coaching change in Coach Stein, and we spread the ball out a little bit more. And so honed in on throwing the ball. But, I'm a coach's son, always been around football, and so I always had an eye for the game. And so making adjustments wasn't nothing to me. I remember going up in the press box in high school games, scouting with my dad. I'm writing down the X's and O's on the note cards and passing them to him, and just kind of picking up on things there. So that's where the mental aspect came from. But once the phone started calling, boy, my dad, man, he made sure I talked to any and everybody. I would hide out at one of my homeboys' house, and that joker would bring the cordless phone out across the street, knocking on the door. I'm like, golly. But one of the biggest things, man, my recruiting visit was very special, man. Just being a part of all the talent that came in, like Doug said, man, having Tim Jennings and those cats, man, Doug, JJ the Bus Thompson, all those guys that were on the visit, and just the camaraderie and love. And then, A&T, man, is a staple just in, for its HBCUs in the state of North Carolina. And, I grew up with a lot of cats that played for Coach Hayes, had a cousin, Russell McLean, who played for Coach Hayes, and then the likes of Brad Hinton, Ramondo North, oh my gosh, Daryl Clue, all these guys that came from Charlotte, just the history that played for Coach Hayes. That was one thing that I knew. If there was a place that I could come and be comfortable, it could be at A&T. And then when I linked up with, Doug, and man, he took me in, as one of his own. And like a lot of the guys he grew up with, naturally became friends of mine as well. And so, once I got on campus and saw everything unfold, man, it was like a no-brainer. And then one specific night, me and my dad, man, we just got into it. And I just told him, I said, man, forget this. I'm going to A&T. And, he kind of froze a little bit, and so he done changed the voice message on the phone. All coaches that are calling, Marshall decided to go in A&T. I remember the next day at school, I was getting called out of class. And University of Tennessee was there. Who else was there? I know Tennessee was big, man. I mean, when I say coaches was dogging A&T. And, I'm a realist, and, I can see right through, the BS and the foolishness. And that right there let me know I had made a good decision, because I had ruffled a few feathers. I even think I ruffled my head coach's feathers, you know what I mean? Because he felt like, I had the likes of Dexter Feaster, who's a Hall of Famer at A&T. He was coaching at my high school then. And then my former head coach, Bill Doolin, went to Johnson C. Smith, played in the NFL as well. He was coaching then. So I know my current head coach there kind of felt like he might have had some stigma and some ties behind me making that decision. Like they had some influence, but I honestly made that decision on myself. I wanted to go somewhere where I felt comfortable. I had the likes of App State, NC State. Like I said, I was always a tweener, like 3 or 4 on people's boards. They were just trying to figure out how the ball, how to, the cards were going to fall. But, and, at A&T, Coach Hayes, he was just straight up forward. Like he said, you're going to play. You're going to have to work, but you're going to play. And so I felt comfortable knowing I was going to be there with some guys that I was familiar with, some guys that had already been through the fire and been through the program. And like I said, when I came in, and got with Doug and the guys, it just felt like home, and it felt natural for me. And I'm forever indebted, and I'm grateful that I made that decision. But, man, I won't forget that, forever, man. It was like you could really see the true colors of people and how it unfolded. And so that made me feel even special about, coming to A&T and committing.
That's very similar, guys. That's very similar to what Alan Hook said about his recruiting experience when everybody was giving him a side out when he chose to come to A&T. and how he had to pray on it and get that I guess that epiphany that it was the right way. So that's very similar to Alan Hooker's story. But so 2002 was a rough year. It was Hayes last year as head coach. I get y'all went 4-8, but you end up playing. You kind of took over towards the end. You played in that South Carolina State game. Had a very good showing in the Georgia Dome. Next year you come in to start it, but you get a little bit of a shock because Bill Hayes, the guy who recruited you, he's out, and George Small, A&T great, former NFL lineman, he comes in, he takes over, introduces a whole new culture, big on discipline, kind of similar to right now with Coach Vincent Brown. These similarities are crazy. So he comes in, instills that discipline, and automatically you see a difference. You guys kind of have a new way of running on the field, a little high formation. Everybody's in a group. Y'all look kind of like a little Roman army going to a battle, all tight together. And George Small came from Youngstown State and Jim Tressel, so he brought his little sweater vest to the sideline. That was the signature thing. But first game of the year, y'all play Central. We had just lost to Central in overtime, 2002, for the first time ever. Go back to Raleigh, Eagle Classic, Carter Finley Stadium. You are the starting quarterback as a true sophomore. Y'all go out there, beat Central. I think it was shutout. Beat the brakes off them. Start a good roll. Next week, I think y'all go to Jackson State. And for the third time in a row, beat Jackson State, this time in overtime. Following week, y'all go to Vegas. And the only thing we need to talk about that is I met my wife in that game. So that's all. That's the only thing. That's the only thing we need to talk about. I sat beside my future wife. Okay. Doug caught a couple of punts in that game from Rico Watkins. I think. Did you get hurt that game? You got hurt.
Yeah.
You got hurt. Randall Rankins is all of 5'7". His brother played at Oklahoma, was a big time receiver at Oklahoma. His brother was like 6'2", and he took all the hype genes from Randall. Randall got in there, played like 2 snaps. He got hurt, and then threw Rico in. Rico to this day, and this is verifiable. This is a verifiable fact. To this day, Rico Watkins still does not know an A&T play. He does not know any plays in an A&T playbook in 2023. Marshall, he had an arm.
Yes, he did. That's my guy. Rico, yeah. We always used to joke around. He was like, man, you got to help me, man. You got to help me learn. I'm like, Rico, man, you too good of a quarterback for me to give you any pointers, bro. You my guy, but I love to play. I got to get out there on that field, man. I got to use my brain just like you're using your arm, man. So,
Marshall, he was 6'6". I'm 6'4". He's all of 6'6". He's 2 inches taller than me, and that dude had a rocket.
Big Rico had a cannon, man.
He could stand on his knees, but about 80 yards.
That Rico had a cannon. I told him, I said, son, if I ever had your arm stripped, you was gonna see me on Sunday. I'm just telling you flat lie, And so that's who we were. But Rico was my guy. He did what he did best. He did what he did best, and we were able to make some big plays off that. And especially while it lasted, unfortunately, teams were wising up and once they smell blood, that's when they attacked or whatnot. But like you said, we had injuries out there that entire year. But that quarterback room, we were able to make it through. We had a stellar defense and playmakers all the way across the board, especially with our special teams. And so we were able to make it through.
So you're MEAC champions. You end up running after that Southern loss. You ran the table until you got to Charlotte. And I told everybody that y'all had a big team party at Side Effects nightclub on the east side, and y'all was just going. Y'all was boozing before y'all went to Charlotte. Got in there, y'all was drunk, and y'all lost to Charlotte. Y'all lost to South Carolina State in Charlotte. Then next week we played a tough triple option Wofford team and lost. But let's just go back, man. That whole year had to be amazing. What does it feel like now? Because you got kids, and you mentor. What is it like this to be a champion, though, man? Because that's a lot of people on this planet who can't say that they were conference champions when they were in college. What does that mean to you?
Big shout out to my man Doug Brown, Mr. Highlights, and Mr. I'll Steal Your Tapes, because he has all the footage and all the evidence of that that year. He's we had our group chat. He's been putting some of the highlights out there as of late, and he always talked about it. I'm always my worst critic, and I always felt like I didn't do my part or do enough on that championship run. And if I say it out loud, cats, they'll slap me on my hand or whatnot, put me back in my place. But just seeing it, like he showed some highlights. He had been talking about that FAMU game that year, and just seeing some of the highlights, I was like, dang, that's me out there.
Yeah,
Like, shoot. And then you looking at all the guys and just the plays that we were making, man, it was really unreal. And just some of the highlights, even you starting with the Central game, and I'm looking at cats, like Maurice Weaver. I forgot this joker had a dang on. Did he have a pick six that game? Or
he
definitely had a interception that game. I'm like, man, across the board, man, we had cats that were even props the season before that just played on special teams. And one thing you pointed out earlier was that discipline that those guys brought in. Man, we had one of the returning leading tacklers on the team, and Sean Jones, that just because of the discipline that those guys instilled, and they did not bend or break from a coaching staff standpoint, he almost didn't really get a shot to even play defense. But he took his lumps and was very instrumental a part of our special teams. And man, that T-Bone always say special teams got to be special. Man, those guys were special. We had Yannick back there kicking, who was dual threatening with field goals and punting. I mean, you had Will Johnson, the Craig Rogers, and all those guys. I know I can't name everybody, but man, all those guys played a big part. And then when you had the top guns out there, but your Curtis DeLoaches out there, punt return and things of that nature, the guys that are very special. All we had to do was do our part. Everybody played their part, and everybody bought in. And that's what really made that group and that entire team very, very special, man. It was, when you look back on it, in the plays that we made at the crucial times, and all the guys that had, key aspects, a part of each game might have been different. Each, big play or big player for that week might have been different, but, each week it showed up, and it was a total team effort, man. And just looking back on it, I'm great to be added in as being able to say, I'm one of the A&T, championship teams to be a part of. My ring may not be as big as, some of these current team championships. We were, analyzing our rings this past weekend or whatnot. But at that time, you couldn't tell me nothing. That spring of 04, you couldn't tell me nothing when I had that ring on my head. Yes, but it made it all special, man. And being able to, have that conversation with my sons and things of that nature. My wife, is a former cheerleader and coach at A&T as well, and it makes it all special, makes it all full circle.
Well, look, man, I can talk to you for like the next 4 hours, but I know you got stuff to do. You got to go. You're at Ragsdale, right?
Yes, sir. Ragsdale Citizen Principal out there, the home of Doug Brown and all his trophies and everything. I get to walk past every day. If I need to get it, I need to get his jersey up there. If I got a lobby for him, I'm definitely gonna do that. But yes, sir. I'm still doing my part, trying to get as many kids as I can in school, making sure that they have some options once they graduate high school.
So he's another success story, A&T success story. He's the assistant principal at Ragsdale High School, Doug Brown stomping ground. Y'all played Southeast Guilford this year. I think y'all lost on last second play by
there you go.
Young quarterback, I forget his name, but he scored to y'all like 20 seconds left. But we'll talk about that later. But
Young Xander.
Yeah, young Alexander Marsh. But check this out, man. You I want to bring you on the show too to give you your flowers because I'm not afraid to say you were underappreciated when your time here. A lot of people don't understand just how much of impact you had, and it's unfortunate. And like our guy Jalen Fowler, I tell him the same thing. You're gonna look back and you're gonna get those roses, unfortunately, after the fact. So you get a lot of your roses after the fact. But what can you what advice can you give these current quarterbacks right now? They're taking their lumps, right? They got the worst statistical pass offense in the country. What advice for somebody who's been there, who made it to the other side? What advice can you give this current crop of A&T quarterbacks?
Yeah, I've been a part of, the good, the bad, and the ugly, my time and tenure at A&T, whether it's on the field or coaching on the other side of the lines. Yeah. But, to those guys, the biggest thing is working. Man, it just popped into my head. You got to WORK. You got to work. Right. And I know that's one of the things Coach Barry, and that was a part of O-line and offensive coordinators and stuff there while we were at A&T during that time. He's the head coach at Benedict College that's on the roll right now.
Undefeated.
You know, that's one of the things that
Undefeated.
yes, and I'm hoping that they can run the tables again. That's my guy. But, you know, that's the biggest thing is just working, and most importantly, working when nobody's looking. I'll tell you one thing, speaking of work, when we were together in dorm rooms, that 02 season, especially that 03 season, you would be surprised. We literally had workouts in the dorm, in the lobby of Curtis Hall when we were over there. Literally, we got dumbbells, every piece of equipment that we could possibly have. We were running up and down the dang on hallways, up and down the steps, and we literally were busting our tail working when nobody was looking, when nobody knew what we were doing. We were not just working in the dang on dorm, but we right there in the Holland Bowl, we running route 7-on-7, wherever we could and get on the practice field when Billy and T-Bone and them let us get out there or whatnot. But, you know, the preparation of it all was what made it really special. I mean, it would be times I would go home. If I didn't go to that first session in summer school, I'm sitting there and, you know, watching TV, chilling. Commercial come on, I'm knocking out push-ups until, you know, my show come back on. And I remember distinctly my mom like, what you doing? You just sitting there doing push-ups. And I would distinctly say to her, Mama, there's a 6'6" kid out in Oklahoma that's preparing. I don't know what that boy is doing, but I know I want to be on that. I want to be right, exactly. I wanted to be on that field. And I think, you know, with us being together and the hard work and the, you know, the preparation, the dedication that we put on each other while we were together, we were doing that when we were apart as well. And, you know, that's one of the biggest things, man, just staying the course, trying to motivate your guys, get into that film room. Most importantly, you got to stay on top of your books because, you know, you don't want to fall into those situations where you're becoming ineligible and things of that nature. But, you know, just trying to be a student of the game, preparing, listen to your coaches, buying in, and then trying to get your guys to buy in as well. That's very key. I know that is key, especially to the quarterback. You know, you got to be the brains and the operation of everything. And it's not that you have to do a lot, but do enough and make sure that you can get the ball in the hands of your playmakers and let them do what they do best. You know, that was one of the easiest things for me. You know, if I just put the ball in the atmosphere and in the area of my guys, I knew you're going to have guys like Brown, you know, Brandon Trusty, you know, Brad Hinton, Bud Phillips, Kenny Perry, you know, those guys, man, they just made it easy because, I mean, just seeing them work from the weight room, whether we in the dorms, just the preparation, you know, where we out there on the track before we even got the rubber track, we out there on the asphalt with no lines out there, you know, it was very key, but we stayed together, we worked together, and we pushed each other. And that's, you know, you know, if I could, you know, sit down and talk to some of those guys and just make sure that they're, you know, competing with one another, but most importantly, competing with themselves to try to be the best that they can be. And at the end of the day, it'll show up. It may not come the way you want it, may not come when you want it, but, you know, you putting the hard work and the time in there, and you know, it'll definitely show, especially if you can get everybody on one accord, get everybody on the same page. It'll come together because that discipline is key. That discipline will win you 3 games. That bounce of that ball is special. And I know it's been plenty of times, you know, we've done the little things in practice that showed up on the football field on game day, and that ball just bounced right to us, and, you know, we were able to execute off of it, you know. So just the preparation of it all on the field as well as in the classroom, just making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, taking care of your body. I wish I would have knew that a little bit earlier on in my career, taking care of your body and making sure that you're prepared and better to bounce back. And going out there and trusting in yourself, trusting in your coaches, and trusting in your teammates, and just giving them the ball and letting them do what they do. And most importantly, having fun. You know, that's one of the biggest things. You know, some of the, you know, even with, you know, my guy Jason Battle, you know, when I came in as a freshman and, you know, he was a senior, he had to sit down, and I had to take into that role. I was in the same situation as a senior. Shoot, I had to sit down. I told the coach, like, look, man, I love football too much. I got out there as a receiver, and, you know 5 and 10, we had to go out there and throw some heads. You know, I just want to get out there on the run play just so I could go up and block on somebody. But I did get me one catch. I did get me one catch. And so, you know, just
the little things,
staying in tune, staying locked in, regardless whether it's good or where it's bad, man. Anytime I had an opportunity to throw on that blue and gold and put on that jersey, I wanted to represent as best as I could. And, you know, that's what's most important, and that's what's key.
Well, Marshall, you talked about your time, you know, hey, definitely the time at receiver, man. Like you said, that's some of the most fun we had, still out there battling. And those little minute stats, like, man, I got me one catch, and I'm bragging about the one pump block I got on the last play of a game one time. But that shows effort. That's why when we get upset, we don't see effort all the way
Oh,
to
yeah.
the end, because that's how bad we wanted, just one catch or one chance to make a play. But
Yeah.
you talked about your time coaching as well. What would you say to the current coaching staff, having gone through some struggles as a coach and, them being new to A&T and just kind of feel like the world's falling in on you? Because you've been there and we've been there and we've had those talks and we know what it's like to coach it up as best you can. And sometimes those things don't take place on the field the way you plan them, and just not really understanding that unless you've been in that room, right? It's different in that room sometimes, but sometimes it's hard to keep going. And tell us about what some of those end of season, kind of thoughts can be as a coach. Because I always tell the story. I don't tell it to a lot, but I want you to tell the story about what it was like when Broadway came in and that transition to his new staff.
Yeah, man. To the coaching staff, understand where you at. This A&T, there's a lot of tradition and pride that goes into it. So you got to be true to where you at and true to what you know and what you're doing. Like I said, I've been a part of some of the good, the bad, and the ugly just in my time at A&T, and even as a coach, when we had young Lewis Kendall when he was coming out, we knew he was going to be a guy. But that year we didn't have the best supporting cast from a quarterback standpoint. Me personally, no knock on those guys, but from a talent standpoint, it was a drop off when Kendall went down. And as a coach, my job was to get those guys as prepared as we possibly can. We had the likes of Terrence Webb and Ricky Lewis and the Dudley graduate, and then we had George Hines, baseball kid, came out there,
guy.
and the one thing I could say about that year, especially from a young coach standpoint, that really challenged me. I knew we had a winning pedigree in Ricky Lewis, but might not have the sharpest mind out there on the football field. But I knew if we could get him in the right position to make plays, he could do that, and he had opportunity to do that as well. We also had Shelton Morgan out there that was a brain, but might not have had it, the best from an athletic standpoint. But once again, we had to tap into what he did well to put him in the best position. Then when I had the opportunity to coach George, he just had a hunger about himself, and he was a little bit older. And man, I was able to get that guy prepared in like 3 weeks to go out there. I think it was get Howard at home. The Joker went, 300 yards. We were able to get a win out there. And I remember, we went to the coaching convention that, at the end of that season, and the guy came up to me and he was talking about that. He had brought it up and, just kind of giving me my kudos and pat on the back. And I never really kind of looked at it, that way, because I'm always my worst critic. And but, when I look back on, I was like, dang, I did get that Joker out there prepared, and dang, on 3 weeks, just coming off baseball, and he was hardly out there, but just getting him to learn signals, plays, terminology.
He's all about what? He's about 5'10" guy, right? He's a small guy.
Exactly. Just getting him comfortable being in the pocket and trusting himself and trusting the old line and things of that nature. And once it finally clicked for him, it clicked. We still took our lumps, but and even transitioning. Because in this business you get hired to get fired. And once Coach Lee went out, and then you had Coach Broadway coming in. It was still our job to put the best product on the field. For as a recruiting standpoint, we still had to hit the ground running with there. And then once Coach Broadway came in, even like they tell us in the professional development, you get your head coaching job, you can fire everybody, you can always hire them back, but make sure you have guys that you can bring in that you can trust and that you can you're comfortable working with, and that hold the same expectation and standards that you have. And that's one thing that Coach Broadway did, and I can always give him his kudos. My brother played for Coach Broadway. You had Sean Gibbs that coached for, with Coach Broadway, that coached at A&T our freshman year, and then Coach Cord that coached with Coach Broadway, was now the defensive coordinator at Central. The Charlotte guy that I grew up with, one of my good friends, and that pedigree. You got to have guys that won't bend, won't break, that's going to have that discipline, that's going to get the most out of your guys, whatever way that that is. Sometimes you have to be intricate, you have to be versatile in your approach, and getting the most out of your guys, but you gotta push them, and you gotta let them know, I can replace you. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing, because like I said, it's a business. It's nothing against the kids, nothing against the guys, but each year is different, and you just never know when that phone call is gonna come when they say your time is up. And so you always have to be prepared, and you always have to be ready. I learned a lot as a young coach as far as making adjustments and being prepared for those next steps. But when you coming from a head coach standpoint, especially like Coach Brown has come in, especially with this new transfer portal, that's something that's going to be a little bit different and whatnot. And so I'm interested, to see how the rest of the season will unfold, especially going to the spring, because that's the name of the game. You got to have the Henrys and Joes, to get out there on that field. Them X's and O's ain't gonna never change. That's gonna always take care of itself. But the guys that's gonna be out there on those lines, when you can't cross it, that's when it's gonna be key. And so hopefully he has the coaching staff that can come in and get guys in here that want to be at A&T. And hopefully as a community, we can help build that, because I know that was the thing that was key when we came in as freshmen, just that community of, Aggie pride that, was instilled in us. Hopefully we can instill in these guys, especially we've been in a different conference that may be kind of foreign to us as a school. But if we can tap back into some of those roots and get some of those guys in here, especially these local North Carolina guys, because they're here, they're players here. Hopefully we can get back to where we need to be from a tradition standpoint, so that we can truly get that Aggie pride out there and make it back to where it used to be.
Hey, I will say this, but I got to throw this out there for some minds. I won't say much about it, but Marshall was a part of a team that did change offensive coordinators mid-season, and it was a successful change. And the coordinator that they switched to was Chennis Berry, if I'm not mistaken. And he actually, made some wholesale changes in the offense, to a fact that Marshall is the only quarterback that I know of that's had a passing game where he threw 100 yards to 3 different receivers. So I think 3 different guys had 100 yards receiving.
No, look, you bearing the lead right now. So let's go back here. So what was that situation? Who did Chennis Berry replace? Who was the initial offense coordinator?
We had Coach Schoolfield. We had Coach Schoolfield.
This was our senior year.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
We were struggling on offense there, I think, in.
And you got to do what you got to do.
04. Brought Schoolfield in.
It's not personal.
Didn't work out. We brought in Barry. Now, Barry was the offensive line coach, and I think he had some experience calling plays, but made the switch, and then it led to some instant offense. So it happened. I wasn't going to back you up earlier when I said every season is different, but it has happened before here in Aggie land now. I don't know how many wins it ended up producing, but we were able to have some success and close the year on a positive note.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Look here, Marshall. Well, we be here probably another 3 hours, but we're gonna bring you back here. Hopefully, maybe later in the season when we finally got this thing rolling, and you can tell us, like all that wisdom you gave us, it resonated, and these guys are listening to it. But until then, I'm gonna check you out at homecoming, obviously, and your tailgate's right next to Dougie's. But thank you so much for coming out. It's been a pleasure. This will not be the last time, because there's a whole bunch more questions I got for you. I know you got some Bill. You're gonna give me a Bill Hayes story, but I'll let you think about one until next time. But until then, thank you so much, Marshal Glenn, one of the best prep quarterbacks in North Carolina and one of the most important quarterbacks at A&T. He is a MEAC champion. He has the hardware to show, and he's one of Doug Brown's best friends. Thank you so much, Marshall.
Yes, sir, Mr. Marsh, Mr. Turner, and of course my man, Mr. Brown. I appreciate you guys. The whole Blue Dell Valley family. I thank you for having me. I hope you guys have an outstanding rest of the season and continue to do great things here at Aggie Land.
Marshal Glenn, thank you so much, man.
No problem. Y'all guys be good.
All right,
man.
Oh, man, that was fun. That was a good one. That was a good one. And see, Craig, man, like I said, that 2003, you were there, Craig. We talking about you remember how that run was? It was improbable because no one was expecting much because we had so many new things. New regime change, right?
Somebody doing the center every week.
Every week, somebody doing the center, man.
Every week. There was somebody changing the lineup every week. We had new people and all over the place every week. It was like Chinese checkers or something. But the guys made it work, man. Those guys, they bought into it. They got on a hot streak, and I remember the Hampton game.
The breaks off of it.
Yeah, that was a shocker.
That was. I'm thinking about the previous year. No, Hampton was a close one. That's when T-Bone got that interception in the end zone. And that tied. That's right. You're right. That was a good game.
That was a close one.
That was a champion. Hey, what, guys? And Craig, we get a lot of people don't understand. Blue Death Valley has a lot of clout. We got a lot of influence. actually, I got contacts with the Smithsonian. I reached out to them, to their archive department, because there's like some hard videos to get. The JFK's, the Bruder film is hard to get. There's a moon landing film that's real hard to get. But I had to call in a favor. I had to use all my Blue Death Valley contacts out. And I had to call in a favor, and I actually got hold of Doug Brown footage when he was actually playing. And it took me, they had to go through every crate in the Smithsonian. In the Smithsonian. Let me show you Doug Brown in 2003, what he looked like, man.
This might be on a reel somewhere.
There's Enrico.
Okay, we got a little throwback action.
Oh, Eric Dougie.
Hey, good old Antoine Bethea.
You already got 3 for 73. It's only the first. It's only the second quarter. But we gotta go back. First of all, so that's the left-handed Oklahoma gunslinger, Craig. That we called him Casino Watkins because when I was in Las Vegas, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I flew out there, and I'm just hanging out in the casino. I think it was a Stardust Casino at the time. I looked next to me. There was somebody 6'6" playing the slots. I'm like, hold on a second, you only playing ball. so from then on, we started calling him Casino Watkins.
Casino,
Casino. And but I guess he got his rest somehow because he has some good plays the next day in Vegas. But this is homecoming. Remember, I met my wife in Vegas, so we started dating long distance, and I flew in from Greensboro, met with her. And we went to the homecoming game. It was against Howard. It was raining, and Douglas Fresh, he decided to have one of his best showings. Watch this play.
Nice pass. Betha jumps a little too soon.
Get little. Where them hops come from, Dougie?
That's my boy Antoine Bethea and Ronald Bartell Jr. 2 long pros.
Yeah.
Howard always kept some guys in the secondary, man. We used to battle it out, man.
Hey, Doug looked like somebody did. Hey, Doug, what was all those X's in the back of your head for?
Hey, man, that's for making crucial blocks, man. That's all it was. Crucial blocks, man. A couple catches, a couple third down catches. That's it, man.
Doug, you fresh. That's what I'm talking about. So,
you wild for that.
Nobody believes it. I had to get the Smithsonian. Listen, nobody believes it, but Dougie was the man. Dougie was
dark web. You found that on the dark web.
But that was a good year, man. Listen. That 2003, I never forget it, man. Y'all brought so much joy to all these. Craig, tell them that y'all brought so much joy. I loved it, and in the way, like say the class y'all had with George Small, Lonzo Lee. Oh, this is when you joined the choir too, Dougie. So
hey, in there.
Your hit Broadway production, Your Arms Are Too Short to play press coverage on Jesus. you were the lead singer in the gospel choir when Alonzo Lee was going to every church in Greensboro. Y'all was singing, and that was pretty cool. But man, it was a fun ride. Thank you. It was a fun ride, man.
It was a good time, man. I'm gonna have to get some real highlights out there now, man. You got me out there. One lowly highlight, man. I'm gonna put some stuff together, man. I gotta do that for the guys, man. It's tough. Gotta find the time, but I'm gonna make it happen, man. We got some good stuff. We gotta get all those VHS tapes on converted to digital before they disappear, before they turn into dust, man. All those tapes, all those old tapes in the old field house, man. That's why I took those tapes, because they end up being practice tape. They would take your highlight tape from a high school tape, right? And they used it as practice tape. They put it in there and dub a practice over it so you could, because tapes are hard to come by. Tapes used to cost, man. Yeah, so all these guys, these kids are lucky these days. They can go to YouTube, look at somebody's highlight tape. If I want to see my guy's highlight tape, I got to take it home and put it in my own VCR, right? But that's how hungry we were, man. We were in our office watching film, and they had to keep me out of there. I wanted a key to that place, man, because I love being in the coach's office. Hell, I grew up in the coach's office. So I'm like, I've been here longer than y'all have. My dad helped build the lockers in this place. I remember when it was the locker room. So we had nowhere else to go. I'm like, this is where we hang out. We sit up here on the hill. It used to be the dock. We just sit up here, So
man. Was 2003 the first year we had the lock too? Was that the new logo?
2003, mid-year. We started the year with the old lock. and the whole new logo reveal
So this
took place.
Chancellor Rennick had a big deal song Dog and Pony show at the stadium.
Yeah,
and
like
he changed. He changed. We had the Bulldog and the new lock, and that stayed. That's been there since 2003.
Yeah, so that was neat. That was neat. I said if we could ever do a throwback game, I'd like to wear that old A&T, man. If I could have put that together this year, man, I couldn't make it happen. But yeah, that was the year we swapped it out, man. It was kind of neat, but it's also, you know, it ain't like we got new jerseys or anything. They just slapped the new logo patch on there and you know, called it a day and put the new helmet on. So that was pretty cool, man. It was neat to be a part of history that you know, and also win a championship that year. That was kind of wild, man. But hey, man. And listen, that was 99 was the first, you know, that was the first championship since the 99 team. And I don't think, what was the next year? 20 what? The next year, next time Broadway won.
You know what? We had a tie, a 4-way tie in 2014.
Yeah, 14. Yeah, we had a 5-way tie. Yeah, 5-way tie for first and 14.
I think
that's a long stretch.
Then we won it in 15.
So I always say that's a long stretch of guys and some good Aggie teams and guys that didn't get to win a championship or wear a ring. There's a lot of guys, I don't call them fringe guys, but there's a lot of guys that you kind of forget weren't a part of that team because they were part of that era. Like they may have gotten school that next semester or, you know, may have finished playing right before that team was here. So, you know, that ring means a lot to more people than just the guys that actually got a chance to take one home. But for the guys that got to wear one, they'll never forget what it was like when them rings showed up on campus and we walking around and like you said, to feel like a champion, man. You know, I know that changed the trajectory of a lot of guys' life and their situation and definitely lifted us up, man. So good times, man. We're going to have plenty of time to reminisce. I'm going to keep the party going, man. So we'll definitely talk about it.
So, Craig, but we're going to have a lot of work to do. We get back to that level as far as the program because right now we're 1-6 on the season. We just had a 33-10 loss to Richmond. And I say it was probably, in my opinion, the low watermark as far as the offense go. I had a breakdown on social media. I got, after the game, and I did. I kind of embarrassed myself. I lost it. I got into talking about the offense that Saturday night because Saturday I was at the game, and Saturday night Doug called me, and Doug was kind of put a battery in my back, and so I was like, Doug, it's 12 o'clock in the morning. I got to go to church tomorrow. I'm a very religious dude. He's like, no, he said, before you go there, let me talk to you about third down conversion. I was like, oh God. And then Craig said, about 2 o'clock. I said, okay, Doug, I got to go. He said, okay, but I want to talk about our interception. So he kept pumping me up. So and then while he's talking to me, I was on Twitter going crazy. So I got mad and I said something about Chris Young, the offensive coordinator. And I called. I want to apologize again. No need for name calling. I stand by my criticism on your performance, but I should not have went there with the Robert Oppenheimer references. That was outside the pale. I apologize, but we got Craig. We got a lot of work to do in this offense. 37 yards pass, 3 interceptions. Where are we at, man? What give me a glimmer of hope, or where do we go forward with this?
You just got to keep grinding. At this point, we got 4 games left. Yeah. I don't know if it's anything dramatic you need or could do, or at this point, I think you just got to go back and just cut out the mistakes. I think the mistakes are the things that is killing us more than anything else. We're just not being mindful of what we're doing out there. It seems like we play okay in stretches, and then all of a sudden we have all these mental lapses and breakdowns and make bad decisions. And then when I look on the opposite side of the ball, I see a defense is getting better and better and better each week. When you look at last week's game, 23 of their 33 points came off of offensive turnovers. Yeah, either offensive turnovers or special team breakdown. It wasn't the defense that lost that game last week.
Hey, Craig,
that defense played.
we held them to 3 of 13 on third downs, right? And like you
Right.
said, they only had 13 offensive points. That's
I
a
told
recipe
you
to
measure defense. I've always told you measure defensive effectiveness is
yeah,
always should be measured by third down efficiency on defense. That
good
will
point.
tell you everything you need to know about a defense. Whether we're a good solid defense, it's not about yards. It's never about yards. It's about what you're doing on third down to get yourself out off the field and keeping
Red
points off the board.
in the red
When
zone.
you limit, when you can keep giving the ball back to your offense, then it's up to the offense to take advantage of those
It
opportunities.
is.
And so far, we haven't done it. That's
Well,
it.
you know
Hey,
what?
That's it. That's our season in a
hey,
nutshell.
does defense win championships?
Yes. Yeah, it
Not,
does.
not this year.
Well,
Not if you
listen.
can't put points on the board.
Defense wins championships if your offense does not just put you in a hole that's just
Give up
can't get out
23
of.
points. Give up 23 points.
And,
To
I
the
just,
other
I
side.
just, hey,
and so look,
if
You know, you-
and that's what motivates my criticism, because I feel like you got one side of the ball that's just an albatross on your neck, and it's bringing it's bringing everybody down, man. It's causing your running game now. The running game was very anemic last week. Kenty Christensen couldn't get anything because there's no. Listen,
there's no pass. There's no pass threat.
there's
There's no
no.
pass threat. I
So,
told you that without
well,
pass threat,
hey,
everybody gonna put 8-9 guys in the box and shut
that's
down the
true.
run.
But there's also personnel matters too, right?
Yeah.
We've shuffled the lineup. We had some changes. You
yeah,
know, I don't think Big Tariq Stewart played. Like some of those guys are difference makers. We talked about it when Corian Sharp came back in the game. You know what he was able to do in those 2 games he was in there. So it's not we forget about the offensive line. We just kind of consider them one unit, and then the offense, right? Like if you change the quarterback, you change the running back, change the receiver, it makes a difference. Same thing with the offensive line. It's 5 of those guys. So sometimes just, one little change can affect the whole unit. We got guys that have played all across the line, and probably more guys is going to have a chance to play, and injuries happen. So we're not done yet. And I know you guys, we're looking at what can we do offensively, and we're going to keep steadfast, kind of what we're doing. But, we got to stay hungry, right? We got a ball game we can win, right? And that needs to be winning needs to be at the forefront of everybody in the program's mind. Just like Coach said, when he said we got to be excellent everywhere, we do. Like we're trying to win a ball game. So let's go back up to Virginia and eliminate, like Craig said, some of those mistakes that have caused us not to be successful. The turnovers. Let's not have the turnovers. Let's minimize the penalties. Let's not have any of the bonehead mistakes. All those little things. This is a chance to finish the season strong and go out on a good note, right? If you're building for next year, I know it's kind of the tail end of the season, but this is an important stretch, right? Hampton, homecoming, we got Campbell coming back in here, so this is a big stretch in the season for us. So, I don't want to see us kind of just game by game. We just gonna see what it is. No, I want to see us getting better. I want to see us working. I mean, you can see some guys. You can tell the guys that want it. I mean, like you said, those guys are flying around, Craig. Defense.
Yeah, they are.
This is one of those seasons at the end of the year, those guys are gonna play their highlights, or we'll see some highlight films, and you're gonna say, man, I forgot how many plays those guys made on that side of the ball, right? They're making a ton of plays, and we'll have a bunch of plays offensively that we'll take for granted. Some of those hard runs by Mr. Graves and some of the effort on offense. It just hadn't come together for whatever reason offensively, but there's no doubt about it. We can call some better plays in better situations. I mean, we can get better. We need to get better. So whatever it takes, I know Coach said he's got it narrowed down, and they know.
You know what, Dougie? I got a solution. How about this? Okay, if they're not gonna listen to me and they're not gonna let this man go, which I still think they need to let him go, not tomorrow, immediately, right? I think if you're placing Chris Young, it sends a great message to everybody that on notice that time is not infinite. Like, I know I got a 5-year contract with A&T, but I got to win right now. I see this not working. I got to make the decision right now. Like you said, George Small did, or whoever did in the middle of the season, but whoever that was. But check this out. If we're not going to make that decision by replacing offense coordinator, how about we get him out of the booth, right, and get him on the sideline? I don't care about your depth perception of seeing that you can get your analysts to tell you what, how's it looking. I want my offense coordinator for the rest of the season to be next to my young quarterbacks. So, because you're wearing two hats, your offense coordinator and quarterback coach. So when you call it, and there's a bunch of people who call plays from the sideline. You don't have to be in the Goodyear blimp to coordinate offense, right? So you can be on the sideline, and then when your quarterback comes off the field, you can calm them down and say, look here, you missed this check. Your footwork was bad. You can be a quarterback coach. You can't do that on the headset when you're in the booth. So I think it'll make a big impact if we get Chris Young out that booth on the sideline, calling from the sideline. That's something we can do now. That's a remedy until we do the real thing, which is
it changes the dynamics and everybody's responsibilities, right? Bringing him out the booth allows Coach Poole to just kind of focus on his guys. He doesn't have to focus on his guys and kind of be the mouthpiece of the quarterbacks and the rest of the offense, because he's kind of the on-field coordinator, which that's a nice title, nice responsibility. But it's also a lot, right? I see times when he's having to juggle a lot and kind of you're also managing emotions, right? Like some guys need attention. Some guys don't necessarily want your attention, but they might need it. I got some guys that may not be locked in, might be over there, ha-ha and kiki and shooting the breeze with the defense, right? No, we need you over here. We need you in this meeting, right? The offensive line generally does a good job of sitting down in the same place. Really good offenses are locked in and communicating from the moment they come off the field, right? And that's why I, talk about timeouts and time stops of play, like hustle over, let's sit down, let's talk about it. One thing I like, and I'm, just happened to notice in the Richmond game, if you look at Richmond's sideline, they don't sit on the benches, right? They have a U shape of like basketball style fold out chairs, right? And no matter where they go, that offensive guys, those 11 guys who's ever's up, they're sitting in those chairs, whether they're on the road, whether they're at home, right? And I think it creates a sense of unity that I don't care what else is going on around. When we come over and sit in this chair and we communicate, we're sharp, right? And I know that's kind of a system that some guys use to eliminate distractions on the road. So, little things like that can help, spring your offense, keep them close, help them communicate better. There's just a disconnect somewhere along the line, because I believe if you go out in the backyard right now and snap the ball to some of our quarterbacks and have guys run around, and they'll complete more passes and have more passing yards in a backyard football game, right? Like just messing around, 7-on-7. So I know there's different situation when guys are rushing, but kicking the football around, throwing the football around a little bit, throw and catch is not as hard as we're seeming to make it right now. These guys have been playing football for a long time, and not just playing football. It's a new age of football. Yeah. It's not just hard 3 yards in a cloud of dust. These guys have been playing and tossing the football, playing 7-on-7 for years now. So, it's puzzling in a sense, and because I know these guys, we have talented kids, we got talented quarterbacks. It's just tough to put together. It's puzzling, but we ain't got nowhere to go but up. So I still believe in the law of averages, that somehow things are going to go balance out and go in our favor with somebody here pretty soon.
Well, Craig, I think this week might be the time, because like you were telling me before you started the show, we catching Hampton at the right time. They are down with last game. They did not have their starting quarterback, the kid from Grimsley, Chris Zealous, and they were down their top two running backs, and it showed, man. Right. Craig, we might be
without those guys, they look like us on offense, really, to be perfectly honest about it. I think they unable to move the ball, couldn't turn it over. They're playing a first year quarterback in place of Zealous. Now, who's to say if he, with our luck, he'll probably suit up and come out and look like Superman.
If not,
he gonna play. He gonna play. He ain't gonna say if he can walk, he gonna play. Same thing with Burrow. If those guys can walk, they gonna play.
But on the broadcast, Craig, they didn't say what they said. Some undisclosed injury, so it might be something severe. And Craig, let me show you right now. Hampton would trade a second. If this was the NFL, Hampton would have traded a second and a third round draft pick right now for one of our quarterbacks. Because I'm going to show you what they got going on.
This week, he looked so well in practice. We're going to see how that plays itself out.
His first pass of the game is off target.
A little bit behind. Looks
got
like he didn't
plays,
get
we
a
win.
chance to set
If
his
this-
feet,
if
and he
number
threw the
12
ball
plays on
sidearm.
Saturday,
So
we gonna win.
got to be more upright in that route.
Against this stout Delaware defense is maintain control of the ball. Here's Lewis, back to pass, misses an open receiver.
You got to go for this, and
Lewis only one completion on the day. It was a big one, 27-yard field.
looks like he's coming to our.
Hey, so that's the Hampton quarterback. He had another one. Let me see. I think he had like a
Left here, getting the football, play action off of it, going for the big one.
Lewis going long, had a man.
Throwing up jump ball.
He had a man open, but actually, Coach, that may have been a good play by number 9.
Well, I think that Wynn had something to do with this ball as well, because he had him beat. So now he had to come back and become a defensive back.
So you recognize that type of throw, Doug. That was one of the punts you called in Vegas. But hey, look here, that was just a small sample. So Craig, they only had 47 yards passing last week. We had 37, they had 47, and when they passed, it was like a 22-yard miracle prayer where the guy was like had to do a Odell Beckham Jr. type of catch. So this was it took an act of Congress for them to get 47 yards passing, and they have no running game.
Yeah. Well, that's because Burris and the other kid are excellent running backs. I mean, Burris is a class A running back.
But he ain't there.
If he ain't playing, it is what it is. Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. When I get there Saturday, if he's coming out there if he's coming out there with pads on, he gonna play. I can tell you like that. If they come out in the warm ups and them guys got those 3 guys got pads on, then it's a different ball game. But assuming that the injury reports are accurate, yeah, you're right. It is a chance. It's an opportunity for us to get on the win column. But we cannot. We have got to stop the turnovers. The turnovers. It destroys everything. It destroys everything you do. I mean, we talked about early part of the season. We talked about our defense was super thin, and we couldn't really stop anybody and that sort of thing. And whatever we've done, it is not fantastic. We're not fantastic as far as the yardage stats sheet is concerned. But we're doing what we need to do to win football games now. We're making plays. We're getting after people. Our pass rush has improved tremendously from what it was during the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. So our defense.
Kudos to Coach Jay-Z. Kudos to Coach Kennard. Kudos to Vincent Brown. And I forget. I think there's some defensive coordinators, secondary guys, but they have put together a great game plan, and they maximize. That's what we're asking for. Just maximize the talent you got. And we're not doing it on offense. We're not maximizing that talent. We got more talent than what's showing, and we got to figure out a way to extract that talent and make it pay some dividends.
Yeah, you're right about that, because I've watched these kids. There's half a dozen or so freshmen mixed in there with all the other guys on defense with the few juniors we got and a ton of sophomores, and those guys are getting better. They're getting better. They're coming. They're beginning. They're coming together as a unit. And I saw guys in the secondary calling out. Our secondary again played another good game this past week, calling out what they needed to call out to letting guys know what was coming on the other side and to be on the lookout for. The communication over on that side is a whole lot better. I don't see that on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's that.
We still can't get lined up.
Yeah.
So guys.
Yeah, I agree.
And this is a question for the chat, because we only got like 10 more minutes. We're probably not going to open up the show to guests tonight for the fans, because we probably got to get out here on time. But listen, here's something for the chat. I want to see this in the chat. Who do you start at quarterback this Saturday? based on the struggles that everybody has had. And Doug, we didn't even see Austin Hooker on the sideline, so we got to figure out what's his status. But he didn't go in the game. I didn't unless I missed him. I didn't see him on the sideline Saturday. I'm assuming he's still in the fold. But Hooker, Yeager, the People's Champ, who, good Lord, that was a bad interception, and KJ, who I think was limping at the end of the game. Who do you, Craig, Doug, who do you start at quarterback Saturday?
If healthy, I'm starting KJ White. We're back home. We're in the home by the sea.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You know, I think it'd be a nice treat for not only Kevin and his family, but you know, giving him a chance to create some of that excitement and electricity that he had back to the last time he was in the Tidewater area.
Yeah.
Kevin, if healthy, could go off, you know, against a Hampton team. You know, you saw what could happen even with a quarterback draw late in the second quarter. Just the standard, typical play call when you're backed up with just a few minutes left, few seconds left in the half.
Let me slow you down. On that play too, I almost broke my hand punching into the bleacher.
Nobody blocked it.
That should have been a touchdown.
No, nobody blocked it.
Okay, super freaks. Okay, I know y'all.
I knew you gonna see it because I was too.
Listen. I know y'all having a rough season with the hands and the hooves and this the depth perception and not being able to understand how to catch a projectile. I understand that's a problem. The one thing you can control is effort, and when you own that football field and somebody else besides you has the ball and you haven't heard a whistle, you block somebody in a different jersey. KJ White broke a 50, 45 some yard run at the end of the first half. We end up kicking the field goal. He should have been in the box because the wide receiver is turning and he's a spectator. He's just running, watching. Like, man,
watching the game.
That Kid White's fast. Look
at
him go. Like, all you got to do, sir, is turn around and put your body in the front of the guy who's about to make the tackle.
Screen the guy off. That's all. Screen the guy off.
Somebody. You know, on a draw play, that's why I don't like running guys off on the draw play. After you take a couple steps, go hunt. Especially with a guy like Kevin that can break any run. You just go block. You don't think about it. Don't look for him. Look for him in the end zone. There's no way that you can block somebody if you're looking for him.
Doug,
that might me up too. It's a young guy though. He'll learn. I'm
gonna tell you something, Doug. You've always been a hard worker. Your career development is awesome. You know, never had no issues with finding employment. Me, I've been a screw up my whole life. So I have been laid off and fired. I've been out of work. And you know what you do when you get fired on Friday? You know what you do on Monday? You look for work. When you're on the football field, you look for work. Okay? When you're a wide receiver and you on the football field, you look for work. You don't just watch Ricky Lake or Jerry Springer all day. You get in the one ads, you get on Career Builder, and you look for work. On that football field, find somebody to block. Okay? Look for work, wide receivers. Now I will give y'all a little bit of pass on the hands like feet and the hooves and all that stuff. I understand y'all got problems, but y'all got to. I will go. You talk about memes, and I'll go to town if y'all start not blocking people. That's where I draw a line. But Craig, check this out. Let me get back to being crazy. So Craig, this could be a good time for us. We play Hampton, and they might be the walking wounded. Then we got Townsend. Townsend is what's their record? They're not that good. They're 3-4. Townsend is 3-4, right?
I don't got their record.
Yeah, but they won the last 2 or 3 games in a row. Last 3 in a row.
They beat William Mary. Forget that.
They beat William Mary.
Don't worry about that. So Hampton's cool.
Well, William Mary's dropped the last 2, so it's a topsy turvy deal in the CAA. The teams picked to be at the top is struggling, and the teams that weren't picked are hot. You know, I think one of the opposing coaches, I think Richmond's coach said, the teams, usually the way the CAA works, the teams that picked in the bottom 5,
they can flip.
That's that 5 through 10.
Yeah,
those are the guys you better watch out for. The guys 1 through 5, forget about them.
Haven't we played the top teams? We played Delaware, Villanova, Elon, and
we played the 4 teams that are going to definitely be in the playoffs. That's who we played over the last.
So our schedule kind of balances out. So we got Hampton. They could be the walking wounded. Hopefully, that's knock on wood. Hopefully, they don't have their backfield. Townsend, who they got a losing record, but they beat William and Mary, and they might get They might be, overwhelmed by Jiho. Then we got Richmond. I think Rhode Island. Excuse me. We're at Rhode Island. They're 4-4. Then we come back home for the season finale against Campbell, and that game. Hey, if we're winning, that game could be a nice showing, a nice little rivalry against the Bowie's Creek Campbells, or there could be 10 people in the stadium if we lose all these other games, because I might not even be there. If it's cold and we playing, we only got one win on the register.
You'll be there. You'll be there.
Y'all might be doing Blue Death. Y'all might be doing Blue Death after dark by yourself.
Huh? Last tailgate of the season. You'll be there. Come on. Man, that's what makes. Shout out to my blue lot folk, man. That's what my blue lot folk is special, man. In the back there, we got to give a shout out to Pittman, right? Pittman is our new pit master, right? He won the pit master competition. He is a resident of the blue lot, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and say it. There might be some folks upset with me, but I think at this point in time, with the creation of the game zone, kind of this new era, I think the blue lot in the back has probably overtaken the gold lot in the front. I think we kind of have the party going in the back. I mean, what do they have in the front? What do they have in the front? They have Fan Fest in the front. They've got some things popping off with the concert at homecoming. But we get the band coming through and leaving the stadium. We get the opposing team, and we get the heckle. You get the players getting dropped off, which we've got to strengthen that whole player arrival day where we got to get to the point where we've got a nice crowd when the players get here. Yeah. But it's kind of the spot, after the game on homecoming. We'll so and then we got the pitmaster champion for the year. So those things alone, I think, kind of give us a nice little edge. And I know we had the pitmaster competition, but I'm gonna go ahead and initiate the new Blue Death Valley Tailgater of the Year award. We got some guys that I think are worthy in the running, man.
So we got to build like a little trophy or some type of thing to give people out.
Because listen, we got some strong candidates. I mean, Pittman's having a great year. I mean, he's got the CAA video under his belt, right? When they came out and got him on the video, he's got the Pitmaster belt that he can actually walk around with on his shoulder. So he's got that feather in his cap. But I got to give a shout out to Robbie McNair, the voice of WNAA. He's on the Aggie Sports Report now. Rob is having a great tailgate year. I think he even made the trip to Elon, and fed a bunch of folks. So, we got some tailgaters who are in the running for tailgate of the year this year. I'm impressed with some of those guys. We got another tie with our guy who's got I forget my man's name, but he's got the tailgate with the TV on it, and he holds it down for the whole row. I mean, anybody needs to see what's going on. So we got some good guys there, man.
Those RVs in the back ain't no joke either. Those RVs,
man, that's a whole different level, man. That's a master's class back there. Yeah, we cut it off in the fifth.
Yeah. Oh, I will be remiss. I got to talk about the defense. So we talked a little bit about it, but I got some highlights before we get out of here. So it's almost 90 minutes, so we don't want to go too long. But guys, we had some great defense, especially the secondary. We had some top-notch secondary efforts and linebackers. So we had some good pass defense plays. Let me show a few of these guys before we get off the show. I think this is BJ Turner knocking out.
Coleman over the middle. That one tipped down by BJ Turner, and it'll put a 4 in the box. BJ Turner.
Say again.
We have some guys in the right spots.
Almost
I like it.
Continued that momentum, reading the quarterback's eyes. Coleman staring down his.
Ooh, he got up there, man. That's vertical. That's why you practice your squats, you guys. You gotta get up.
Target. Turner actually, heck of an athletic play to get that left hand in there to break it up for Richmond. Coleman finds Smith. He's dropped in the.
And we talked to his dad, but that football IQ, boy, it was in display right there. Just sifting that out.
Backfield. BJ Turner. He's everywhere. Sniffing that one out. You're going to take a shot, and if I don't get it, I'm just going to punt it. Coleman. Intercepted by Cole. Avarian Cole, his 3rd pick of the season. And that will end the threat. Good defense there by the Aggies.
Dougie, one thing he's going to do. Hey, Dougie Fresh. One thing your boy number 8's going to do. He's going to show himself. He's going to. But that was a good play. He was close to the sideline. He was
just a few more steps. Just a few more steps. Come on the sideline. Take that helmet off, and everybody we can see even better. You know, everybody can see. But good. Hey, hell of a play, man. He continues to make plays. I think he's got all of our interceptions this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe.
I think he's got all three of them.
Again, Spiders took a shot.
And this guy right here has been steady all year, man. He's kind of quiet, but you know he's making plays.
Wickersham rolls out, throws on the run, can't connect.
It's textbook, man. Like you don't draw no
with DeGennaro, and that's what Karan Prunty is in the game for. He is one of those corners that, you know, when it's a little chilly in your house, you need just.
And you know what, man? This the next guy was actually, you know, in Craig, we kind of get in trouble because, you know, we're not supposed to show like non-college guys, prep guys, you know, because, you know, it's kind of like NCAA stuff. But I want to show this next guy just to see if you all recognize him. He made a pretty good play.
A little bit of warmth. You don't need a comforter, just a blanket. Here you see Karan Prunty stride for stride with Rio de Janeiro.
Watch that play, but then we got one even better than that, and that happened not actually. It wasn't even on that Saturday. Check this.
It's that right hand up to knock it down. That's a tremendous defensive play right there.
Check this play out, man. No! Hey, yo, got the pick.
There you go, boy. There you go, kid. When you watch the Aggies every Saturday, right?
Oh! We gotta go back. We gotta bring it back. Come on, we gotta bring that back.
That's a tremendous defensive play right there.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Who we looking at, man? Because that looked like young Douglas Freshniferous Brown Jr.
DJ, man, he gonna get you for that.
So look, man, I don't know if they checking birth certificates, but I swear that quarterback got to be 18 years old. And
there's some big 2-year-olds out there, man. And
man, this can't be 10U football. But now check this guy.
Man.
Hey, Craig, you gotta look at the technique. So right now, I like the staggered step that young DJ got, and then look at his back pedal.
Back up, Blue.
Woo!
Pass.
And what we always talk about, high point the ball. We talk about high point the football, right? Like that. Got it. Give me that.
Man.
Give me that. Oh man.
That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious.
So DJ,
you're good.
Oh,
2-1 tonight. You got a 2-1. How about that?
Oh my Lord.
That's hilarious, man.
Young Doug Brown Jr. over there.
You never know with this man, Craig. You never know, man.
I love it.
That's a good one.
I love it. We're going to see him at homecoming, man. We're going to see D. Everybody
there you go.
Props on that big play when y'all see him at the tailgate, man. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff, man.
Hilarious.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, Craig, give us some last word. We got to get out of here, man.
Cut out the mistakes. Just cut out the mistakes on offense. Defense, keep doing what you're doing. Hampton is kind of like us right now. They're kind of searching, and I was watching Hampton's podcast yesterday, or their interview they had on HBCU Sports, and I see a lot of head hanging over on that side, a little bit of apprehension about what's going to happen on a Saturday with us coming up there. They're saying that they should win, but they ain't convinced they can win. And if you got a team that's not convinced they can win, you usually gonna get beat. So I like our chances. We'll see what happens.
And bus trip, when y'all leaving? Early Saturday morning?
6 a.m.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. There's a big for AAF. AAF is throwing a big tailgate party up there at Hampton's homecoming. So for everybody that's going up there, a lot of folks coming down from the DC chapter for that game. Tidewater chapter is still coming up for that game. So yeah, there's going to be a ton of Aggies there. There may be more Aggies there than Hampton folks because they ain't drawing flies as far as crowds are concerned. So
hey, Craig, it's going to be a big one.
It's going to be a big one. This will be the one where everybody shows up. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard they got
there's a marching machine that's supposed to be making it up there. Yeah, I understand they sold out all the parking. Yeah, I heard they sold out all their parking permits. So I don't know where folks are going to park. I hadn't been to Hampton in quite some time, but it's not that big of a campus, so we'll see.
All right,
We'll see. I don't know.
Dougie, you're not going up there, are you?
I am.
Oh,
I'll be heading up this weekend. Got some family that usually hangs out and parties with us on Auntie's homecoming.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Y'all got the Airbnb, right? Y'all doing that, man.
So old cousin Lou, we're gonna go spend some time up there. We're gonna kick it with him Friday night. We're gonna do it all day Saturday. So it's nice to know we got a nice spot to come hang out with some Aggies, Craig, in case we get engulfed with Pirates. But we're gonna go fellowship, man. We've been up there 2 or 3 times, so you know it's kind of nice to get a chance to go back up there. These are those rivalries that you talk about, and when they come around, you got to go support. So we're looking to hang out with the Hampton folk and the fam, and then come game time, you know, it's all Aggie pride. So I'll be in there hollering and yelling. I think this is the game we get it done. Look for Kevin Wright and the rest of the VA boys to stand up and do what they do. They better not kick it to Taymon. Taymon is ready.
But you know what? I say they will. But everybody else is being. So
hopefully they don't get a lot of opportunities to kick it to Taymon. But I hope the one time they do kick it, they kick it to him because he's going to the house. Look for Karan Punter to have a big game, regardless of who's the quarterback. KP's due for one. I keep telling you. And I think this is our coming out game, guys. It may be a little late, but this is a big game for us, man. So hopefully, whoever we got out there, whoever's healthy, whoever can go, man, let's get it done, man. Keep fighting. I believe in those guys, man, and you know I know those coaches are working hard, so it might as well pay off. So here we go, Aggie pride, baby. Let's get it.
And I was gonna do a whole little rant about some athletic department stuff, but I'll wait till next week. So because Marshal Glenn got me in a good mood, man, reminiscing. So we'll see how things go in Richmond.
Big show next week. Big show.
Big show.
Big show. We got a big show next week. We're gonna try to put some things together. But until then, I can't wait. Then Tony. I'm flying Tony in for that Sunday, Dougie.
Find a man.
They're gonna sing one song.
Let me know.
They gotta fly back out.
Just like that. All right. Make sure we're there. Make sure I'm in the building, man.
Okay, you got to pay some of that bill then. Them boys ain't cheap still. They still got that little price tag. But until then, guys, for Doug Brown, the father, I'm starting to call you the dad of Doug Brown Jr. That's your claim to fame because that dude's an athlete.
Oh man.
Mr. President Craig Turner. I am Samaj Marsh. This has been Inside the Valley. See you next week. Peace. Aggie pride.
Aggie pride.
Aggie pride.